Hey, dear friends. I want to make this video, but my eyes are bothering me. I think I need a different prescription, but I have this thing where I have been trying to get new glasses for the last couple of years, and every time I buy a new pair, my brain is like, no, and I have all these freakouts because of it. And so I have this old pair, but by the end of the day, my eyes are so stressed out. Okay, so I am going to share a little bit about attachment styles and neurodivergence. Okay, so a lot of people have heard of these ideas of anxious and avoidant attachment styles, and then also disorganized. And most people see these through like a neurotypical lens. And what I came across a really cool breakdown of how actually something that might, so early experiences can shape what attachment style we have, but also neurodivergence can shape what attachment styles we have. And we can also be interpreted as having certain attachment styles because of neurodivergent behaviors that are not necessarily about attachment. So I will put the link to the thing that I came across, and I'm just going to share a few of the points that I found interesting. Am I recording this? How does one know? Yes, it does say. Okay. I've recorded like three things recently that I can't find, so that's why. Just double checking. Okay, so one characteristic for neurodivergent folks and just sensitive folks is having more sensory sensitivities and needs for more accommodations. And that can be experienced by others as rejection. So it could be experienced as being avoidant, even though it's really not about the social connection. So, for example, if someone invited me to go to their party at like this is a real example. A friend invited me to go to her birthday party at a restaurant that's about 30-minute drive from me at night in like a crowded restaurant, and there was going to be alcohol involved. So for me, sensory wise, I just like I really wanted to celebrate her birthday, but there was no's, like not possible. So all along the way, I don't drive well at night. I get pretty overwhelmed being out in the dark and with lights from other cars. I get like just more, I have more of a like heightened nervous system state when I'm out at night. I just don't feel as confident. I also don't like being sort of like out of my neck of the woods. I get intimidated by directions. I have a difficult time with like spatial awareness and parking in unfamiliar places. Um, and uh, just like going to a place I've never been is a lot, especially at night. And then restaurants can be hard for me because they're loud and unpredictable, and I don't like it was a because there were so many people invited, she was just doing like a set menu, which just that was intimidating to me because food can be tricky for me, and so I just feel like then I'm gonna have ordered something, then I'm gonna feel like I'm supposed to eat it, and I usually don't like to eat when I'm around a lot of people. I like to eat more just like with a smaller group of people, maybe mostly just by myself, to be honest. Eating and navigating social stuff together is like two hard things at once. So there was that. There's going to people I didn't know. It was going to be a loud atmosphere. There's probably going to be bright lights because it's like restaurant slash bar. And then when there's alcohol involved, I don't like the smell of alcohol. I don't love the way that people act when they're drinking, and it creates more unpredictability for me. And so I said no. And she knows me and she knows it's not a rejection. But if she didn't know me well, or if I was a person who was not open and communicative about my sensory stuff, then she might interpret that as rejection. And let's say, what I did was I said, can we celebrate your birthday, the two of us, like taking a walk outside? Because that's my favorite way to socialize. And so if I wasn't communicating about my sensory needs, or if I didn't know about those accommodations that I need for myself, like an alternative way to celebrate someone or engage in the social experience, then she could experience me as being avoidant because I'd be saying no to a lot of the things, and she could experience me as rejecting her. And so that is one way that people can misunderstand uh, neurodivergent people's behavior, um, because they think it's an attachment style. Okay. So another way is again need for alone time. So most neurodivergent people and sensitive people um, really need a lot more time alone. And it might not even be introversion. So this is another thing that I think people mix up is introversion versus need for alone time for neurodivergent reasons. Um, so introversion, I think the technical definition of it is like you get energy from being alone, and extroversion is you get energy from being with other people. But for a neurodivergent person, being alone means you're gonna probably have total control of your sensory stuff, right? And you're also not gonna have to be like doing all the cognitive work of understanding the social cues and environment and communication and language. Um, and so being alone in part is just to like have a break from all of that, recharge from all of that. And it might not be because you don't want like because you don't get energy from social connection. Like I do get energy from social connection. I get a lot of it. But I get that energy when I'm with other neurodivergent people in one-on-one quiet sensory controlled environments. So that's why my work is so perfect because I can be one-on-one with someone, they're in their house and I'm in my house, um and I can do all of my fidgeting and I can have my perfect lighting and all of my drinks and my headphones, and everything's just like so great. And I can have my cozy clothes and I wouldn't have had to deal with driving there and parking and figuring out if I'm going to be hungry or have to go to the bathroom or any of those things. So I get to have the social connection without all of the other stuff that would drain me. So it's not the social connection that drains me. I get the energy from social connections, all the other stuff that drains me. So need for alone time isn't avoidant behavior, but somebody could interpret it as that. Direct communication can also be experienced as coldness. So, like, it could also be considered avoidant. So, if someone asks me a question and I'm like real direct, they might be like, geez, why didn't you soften that? Like, are you just trying to push me away or something? I ask a lot of questions and I want more information all of the time. I'm so curious. And I think sometimes people have told me they feel like interrogated by me. And I'm like, no, I actually just want to know so much more. Like the other day at the soccer game, um, I found out that this other parent was reading the Quran as a book club book choice. And I was like, I am obsessed. Tell me all about it. And so I was asking, like, what are the differences with this? What are the differences with all these like major tenets of religions that I've experienced and explored and like comparing and contrasting? And I was like shouting across the little soccer chairs during the soccer game. I think he was partially interested in the conversation, but I think he also was partially like, can we watch the soccer game? And I didn't really know how to stop or when to stop. And he eventually ended up like standing up awkwardly in the middle of it. And I was like, okay, great. I hope you have a nice walk. Like I didn't know how to manage it. Um, and I think he may have experienced all sorts of thoughts about me with that interaction. But um, if you have direct communication that comes off a little bit not so. I think I'm very like um lovey in my communication, but some other people might be so direct that someone could experience it as avoidant. Certainly, my communication, I think people can experience as anxious attachment, which is the next one that this lovely human Alice Bramhill lists. Emotional intensity being too much. So, yes, there you go. That's what he was probably experiencing with me around my emotional intensity around the Quran. Uh, was like, okay, why are we so excited about this right now? Definitely, I have constantly been told I am too much. And that's not an anxious attachment style. That's just for me an intense emotional aspect that comes from my neurodivergence. Um, so um, we we want to in the social model of autism educate people, right? So that people know, like, okay, this is what's happening when I say no to our hangouts. This is what's happening when I'm really direct in my communication. This is what's happening when I'm like so enthusiastic about something that you feel a little bit like, Jesus, too much. It's not an anxious or avoidant attachment style. It's me being neurodivergent. And this is what it means. And this is how you can support it or interact with it. And some people are going to be like, oh, I don't want to hang out with you then. You know, it may like end relationships. And that's okay to me. It's less energetics to have someone like have all the information on the table and then be able to be like, yeah, let me just distance myself from this relationship rather than me trying to not be um, too much or not be sensory sensitive because then I'll end up uh, acting, so stressed out um, or not actually having connection with them because I'm like being so careful that it won't be a real relationship anyway. So so yeah, the social model of disability is that we educate folks about our neurodivergent and then create opportunities for ourselves and ask society to create and support opportunities for us to be accommodated, supported, and the example of like asking to have a quiet one-on-one hangout rather than be a part of a big birthday party is an example of that. I also have asked people like, let's say there's something that I really do want to go to. Can you help me to find a ride with somebody else who's going so that I don't have to drive at night? And then I would just like close my eyes during the drive and, have some quiet time maybe on the drive with some earplugs. Then I would wear earplugs at the restaurant and then maybe I would tell her in advance, don't buy me a meal. I'll just sit there and have some sparkling water or something and I'll eat beforehand. And I'll just stay for 30 minutes, for example, would be like a great way for me to use that social model of um, uh, disability and accommodate things for myself, accommodations and modification. Okay, sweet. I think I covered it all. Yeah, so I like the part that she kind of wraps up with, like that there is neuroplasticity, and that means that um, attachment styles can change, but neuroplasticity is not going to change. Just, it's not going to make you not um, neurodivergent. But that as you practice being in relationships where you can unmask and accommodate yourself and educate the people around you, you can have secure relationships based off of that uh, understanding and accommodating. And secure relationships are possible even with um, neurodivergent um, uh, behaviors, traits, experiences. And so we can, when we understand ourselves, we can support ourselves in being able to open up to secure attachments. Because for a lot of us, because we were like denied um, connection when we were unmasked, we may have learned that like connection was not possible for us. And so it may not be possible with people who are not going to be understanding and supportive to us. But we can have secure attachments when we connect with people who are supportive and understanding um, and celebratory of us. Um, okay, so I'll put that link in the description and love you very much.